What's going on, motivators? We got to talk about Eric Swalwell and all those women who are holding press conferences. Let's get into this.
Eric Swalwell sexually harassed them. They told Nancy Cordes why they finally decided to go public. Swalwell denies allegations of sexual misconduct, but he did suspend his campaign for governor on Sunday and then announced he's going to resign from Congress. Nancy Cordes joins us now from Washington. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning to you, Nora. This is the first time that Swalwell's accusers have been willing to go on camera. And they told us it wasn't an easy decision, but that they've been shocked to discover how many women had stories about Swalwell that were apparently just like theirs.
I didn't tell anybody for years, out of fear.
What were you afraid of?
Well, at first I thought I was all alone.
Annika Albrecht was still in college when she says she got what she thought.
Probably she was afraid that he is from the Democrat Party and she would be proven that she's not telling the truth. Probably.
Big break. California Congressman Eric Swalwell offering to stay in touch after meeting with her student group in Washington, D.C.
He offered to mentor me.
Wow.
That was, as someone who knew virtually nothing about politics at the time, or no one, that was just an incredibly generous offer that I felt very lucky to have.
She says Swalwell created a
Then again, if you just said he knew nothing about politics, but he offered you, and then you took that offer, that tells a lot about you as the individual also.
group chat with all the students and then added her as a friend on the messaging app Snapchat.
And so I asked the other people that were in the meeting, did he add them? And they said no.
Were they all men?
Yes. I was the only woman in the meeting.
She says Swalwell, who was then in his late 30s, started out talking politics, but his messages soon turned flirtatious.
Timeshare billionaire Stephen Klobuchar ended his campaign for governor to endorse Swalwell.
That didn't age well, did it? Ended his campaign and Swalwell is the crook. Now he's changing his party. He doesn't want to be a Democrat anymore. How amazing.
Spending an estimated $1 million on his campaign. He invited Swalwell to spend part of the weekend at Klobuchar's Beverly Hills estate. Klobuchar speaking this evening exclusively with NBC4.
I was very concerned for his mental health. He needed a couple of hugs, okay?
As for allegations against his friend,
I am disturbed, and I cannot support Eric Swalwell anymore.
Ultimately, it reached a point where he invited me to a hotel to meet him. It was very clear what the connotation was. At that point, I completely stopped responding. What I keep thinking back to is how lucky I am that I didn't go to that hotel.
Alisa Marco says she had a similar experience in 2021. She sent Swalwell a supportive message on Twitter, and to her surprise, he messaged right back.
I was so excited. I was a low-level staffer who had no real political background. And
I'm not saying you got to believe all women, right? But still, the low-level staffers, I mean, what exactly are they trying to do? Sending texts to a higher person? That in itself is putting themselves in a very precarious position too, into what actually happened and what eventually happened to them. So it could be that they themselves were trying to fish for something and they got more than they bargained up for also.
he was this established figure in Democratic politics.
They began to text, but she says he soon asked if she too was on Snapchat, where messages and photos automatically get deleted after they're viewed.
How did the tenor of his conversation change?
It started out as professional and platonic, and then slowly they became more and more explicit, asking me what I was wearing. Then one night he was on a trip and he was laying in his hotel room bed, and then he sent me a photo of his penis.
Samarco showed us text messages she sent to friends at the time about Swalwell's alleged advances. In one, she wrote, "He's snapping me right now, asking when he can see me." But beyond that, both women said little for years as they built careers as Democratic campaign strategists.
I'm trying to be real here. Obviously, we got to have this thing litigated in court. But the first hint, if I was that female, when he asked, can he's sending her some sexy pic, whatever it is. That in itself could have been too flirtatious, and she could have just been stopped and ceased all communication. The mere fact she went on after that, it says a lot about her also. Then here she received some other nude photos from him. My thing is, I don't know if she cut it off then or she continued, but all those things are red flags that she should have stopped during that time frame.
I was terrified that if I spoke out against him, then people would think that I was a loose cannon, that I couldn't be trusted, that maybe I'm making it up.
That was until Swalwell decided to run for governor of California.
I'm Eric Swalwell, and it's this simple.
And quickly moved to the top of the pack.
The idea that this man who has already abused his power would be given even more power and could potentially harm even more women.
And what she's saying is true. Actually coming out in this position, it takes a lot of courage to come out and say those things, which from her part, I couldn't see like more of it. The other girl, I'm kind of like, hesitant. I just want to see more of the evidence in court. It takes a lot of courage to come out and say something like that, especially someone who's in power. So I give him a lot of kudos for that.
House of Representatives, sir, I am deeply sorry to my family, staff, and constituents for mistakes and judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious false allegations made against me. However, I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make. I am aware of efforts to bring an immediate expulsion vote against me and other members. Expelling anyone in Congress without due process within days of an allegation being made is wrong. But it's also wrong for my constituents to have me distracted from my duties. Therefore, I plan to resign my seat in Congress effective at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on April 14th, 2026. I will work with my staff in the coming days to ensure they are able, in my absence, to serve the needs of the good people of the 14th.
He was forced out. He didn't do that on his own volition. You could see by the way that he actually got removed. Probably Nancy came and told him it's time to go.
Whole body sick.
So, 2 weeks ago, Albrecht reached out to her good friend Cheyenne Hunt, a Democratic content creator, and asked her to post a video about the rumors that have dogged Swalwell for years.
The Democratic candidate currently leading in the California governor's race has a known history of being predatory towards women. I could never have guessed where it would lead us.
Where did it lead?
I was immediately slammed with DMs from other women who said, I have a story to tell. And that was when I realized that this was a lot bigger than I think any of us knew.
Swalwell has acknowledged what he called mistakes of judgment, but denied all allegations of sexual misconduct.
They have never happened, and I will fight them with everything that I have.
And yet on Sunday, he suspended his bid for governor, and yesterday announced his plan to resign from Congress.
Is that justice in your view?
I think we just prevented another 30 to 40 years potentially of him harming people if he were to stay in Congress.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think we have served justice for his future victims. Wow. That won't exist anymore.
I mean, Swalwell is a scumbag. I always thought he was a scumbag. But again, we got to let this stuff work itself out in court. He's out of Congress. He's out of the governor's race. But we still got to see what's coming on. There's a lot of evidence. I'm stacked up against him with criminal stuff going on, especially with his nanny. So he has a lot coming towards him right now.
He offered me connections to further my software company. And I also had an interest in local politics. He invited me to 2 public events. I knew he was married at the time and that his wife was pregnant. He was my friend. On the 3rd occasion, I believe he drugged my drink. I only had 1 glass of wine. We were supposed to go to a political event, and he said he needed to get paperwork from his hotel room. When I arrived at his hotel room, I was already incapacitated, and I couldn't move my arms or my body. He raped me. and he choked me. And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness.
Then again, all these women coming forward, I said good on them. Some of it just happened recently. Bad on Swalwell for taking advantage of these women, allegedly. This thing have to play out in court. Let's see where it goes from there.
I was on like his creator launch call thing. I thought, wow, really charismatic guy, very great on camera. And then I had an interview scheduled with him, and he had posted a story, and I reposted it, just sharing that sentiment. And instantly people started messaging me. I had 3 people say, slow your roll. This is not a great guy. He is like, don't give him your phone number. He'll send you inappropriate messages, all types of things. But I mean, that is not normal.
Eric Swalwell is not the only one. There's a lot more scumbags in Congress. They all need to go. Anyway, let me know what you think. All right, motivators, if you enjoy what you've seen and heard, please like, comment, subscribe, and share a Black veteran's perspective. Stay motivated.